and they burn the food. Do the relatives actually get it? And the Buddha says only ghosts can get it. And I assume that must be because only ghosts come back to their relatives to wait for merit. So only ghosts we can help. The other realms, whatever we do here, they are not even aware of it. For example, being in hell, if you do Chao Tu or whatever, this liberation of beings, they have no knowledge of it. If they have no knowledge of it, how can they be helped? We don't have a psychic power. Even if we have psychic power also, we still cannot help them in the Buddha's teachings. So we must remember, in Chinese Buddhism was very much influenced by Taoism, because in the year 511, the Emperor Liang Wuti, he commanded that monks and nuns in China must not eat meat. And he made that command because he was a Taoist before. At the age of 40, he came to Buddhism. So he had a lot of Taoist concepts in him. So he noticed that the Buddhist monks ate what we call misiku taunjia, whatever types of crops also they eat. So he compared them with Taoist monks. Taoist monks seem to be very pure in their food. So when he commanded that Buddhist monks and nuns are not allowed to eat meat, that changed the lifestyle of monks and nuns totally. Because after that command, the monks and nuns could not go and beg for their food. Because when they go and beg for their food, they have to eat whatever is given. And most of the time, people are not vegetarians. So they could not get vegetarian food. That being the case, they had to start cooking the food. And when we start cooking the food, that is against the Buddha's Vinaya, the Buddha's precepts for monks and nuns. And then not only that, they have to look for money to buy the food. That also is against the monks' precepts and nuns' precepts. So when they want to look for money, they have to follow the footsteps of the Taoist priests. They have to do chanting. So they start to do chanting just like the Taoist priests, and use instruments just like the Taoist priests, ting ting tong tong and all that, which the Buddha did not allow monks and nuns to do. So after a while they find that they cannot keep the most of the Vinaya precepts, they could not keep at all. Then they say fang pian, expedient means, bodhisattva vows and all that, which the Buddha never talked about. They introduced bodhisattva vows, and some of the bodhisattva precepts are totally against the Vinaya also, and the Dhamma, the Suttas also. So that's what happened. So because of that, they did all this chanting and they adopted this. It's a Taoist belief that you can help beings out of hell. So they also created this concept that you can help beings out of hell. It is not a Buddhist concept, it is a Taoist concept, just like feng shui, this geomancy, nothing to do with Buddhism. It is from Taoism, but it crept into Buddhism, so that some Mahayana monks also, they practice geomancy, feng shui. So there are a lot of things in Chinese Buddhism which is not actually Buddhism, is contaminated. Sometimes with Chinese culture also. Chinese culture also has crept into Chinese Buddhism. So this Chao Tu has nothing to do with original Buddhism, liberation of beings from hell. Nobody can help beings come out from hell. If at all, this Chao Tu and all this, like they have this Mahayana Chinese sutra that says that Mahamoggallana helped his mother out of hell. If that is possible, that all the Buddhas would have helped all the beings out of hell. But now we find the beings in hell, they have not reduced, they're still the same. The beings in the ghost realm also still the same. Beings in the animal realm also still the same amount. So who is helping who? Nobody is helping anybody. Buddha says, actually nobody can help another person. Nobody can bless another person. Even the Buddha cannot help us. That's why the Buddha said that the Buddhas only show the way. Just indicate to you the way. Which way you want to walk is up to you. Why the Buddha cannot help us? Because the world is a creation of our mind. Our mind creates our world. Just like when you are in a nightmare, you're having a nightmare in your dream, nobody can enter your dream and help you. You are having the nightmare you created yourself. So the karma we create gives us the nightmare of life. So when we create evil karma, we see ourselves lifetime after lifetime suffering. If you create good karma, then you see yourself happy. That's why the Buddha says in the Khanda Samyutta that we should see consciousness as a show. As a show, consciousness creates this show. We see ourselves like in a movie, series of movies, one lifetime after another lifetime.
They mentioned that whatever happening now is due to they just mentioned that whatever happening now is due to our past karma, and whatever we do will affect our future, and we are creating that karma for the future. Now, the past karma, how by doing the merit, now we are doing merit and doing good things, and all this is actually building up the karma for the future. And how to utilize the past karma, the effect of the past karma? Is there any way to sort of lessen the effect?
Yes, the Buddha says that we can mitigate, lessen the effect of our past unwholesome karma by doing a lot of good deeds now. If we do a lot of good deeds now, then that gives us instant happiness. Then when you are happy, then you don't think about your unhappy states. Because actually karma ripening is we think about, we remember the evil that we did, and then remorse arises. And remorse gives us suffering. So if you don't remember your past deeds, then it doesn't ripen, your karma does not ripen. That's why the Buddha says, if we keep doing a lot of good deeds now, then we are happy. You're happy, you don't think of the evil that we did. It does not surface.
That 490, just now what we read, the Sutta, the Vipachiti, which is taught by the Sakadeva, and then he thinks the Sakadeva is righteous and they are wrong, but he doesn't feel that he is a prisoner.
That's why in the Dhammapada, the Buddha says that mind is the forerunner of all states. So the mind is very important. How we perceive things, perceive wrongly, you suffer for it. You perceive rightly, and you're happy.
Like this, I read that not everything is caused by karma. So what are the things that are not caused by karma?
Generally, our life is governed by karma vipaka. Okay? But not all suffering is due to karma vipaka. Why? The Buddha says in the sutta, I think we will be coming to it, that the Buddha says, for example, if your body is giving you pain, it might be because you have too much phlegm, or you might have too much bile, or you may have too much wind in your stomach. And these things are maybe because of the food you ate. You ate too much curry or something, too much chili or what. And another one is the imbalance of the tree. When the tree are not well balanced, also give you body pain. And sometimes because of carelessness. Then sometimes because of chance, external happening, accident, for example. For example, sometimes some people, they go on the road, then they have an accident and they may die. So I think if that person dies because of karma vipaka, then that person will not be reborn as a human being. Because of karma vipaka, his blessing or what is used up. So he does not have the blessing to be reborn as a human being. But if it's due to accident, so it's not due to karma vipaka, so he suddenly dies, then he did not finish his using up his blessings. He still has blessings to be a human being. Then he'll probably be reborn back as a human being again. That's why there are some people, after they pass away and they come back to the human world. Some people, they go down to the ghost realm. But the Buddha says most people, after they die, they will go down to the ghost realm. A few, because of great evil deeds they have done, they go to the animal and the hell realm. But most people, after we die, because we have used up our good karma as a human being, then we will go to the ghost realm. The difference between the ghost realm and the human realm, the blessings is not too great. There is a sutta describing, giving a simile for the 5 realms of existence. The Buddha says, if a man walking a long distance and he's lost and he's hungry and he's thirsty and he's tired, then suddenly he falls into a hole, a big deep hole which is higher than his height. So he cannot climb out of the hole, and that hole is filled with burning embers, charcoal burning. So he gets burned now, he's struggling to come up, he cannot come up. So that is a simile for the hell realm. And then for the animal realm, the Buddha says, the same man walking long distance, tired and hungry, he fell into a shit hole, full of shit, excrement, and the hole is deeper than his height, and he also cannot climb up, and he's struggling and eating shit. That's the simile for the animal realm. And then the simile for the ghost realm is that this man walking a long distance, tired and hungry, he comes and he sees a tree. He's so happy, he rests under the tree. But unfortunately, the tree does not have much leaf. So he still feels the sun, the heat of the sun. But he's able to get a bit of rest, but not good rest because of the hot sun. And the simile for the human realm is that this same man walking a long distance, he comes upon a very shady tree, full of leaves, and then he goes under the tree. He's not burned by the sun, so he's able to rest under the tree, and he's very happy resting under the tree. That's the human realm. So you see the difference between the human and the ghost, not that much difference. Right? Both go under the tree, only thing one has more shade, one has less shade. And then the heavenly realm is like this person, he walks a long distance, then suddenly he comes upon a huge mansion. He enters the house and it's full of luxurious items. And then he sleeps on the bed, he drinks, he helps himself to the food, everything, and he's very happy in that house. He doesn't want to leave that house. That's the simile for the Deva realm. Okay, shall we end here tonight?